So High Low Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
It's a Throwback Thursday, recorded on a Thursday, posted on a Monday. Look at that.
Hell yeah, it
Hell
is.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Continuing along here with Sleeping with Sirens and their discography. Coming towards the end now. Got this record that we're going to talk about, and then one more next week, and then that's it. Exciting times. Today we're chatting about their 2019 album, How It Feels to Be Lost, and I like this record a lot. I really like this record a lot. This is the time that I found the band, because I'm sure I've talked about this more than once over the course of this review series, but I saw the band for the first time in 2019 at Rockstar Disrupt Fest. Forever altered my brain chemistry and changed my life. And this band was on there, and this was the beginning of this album cycle was when that tour kicked off, because I saw them in July. This record came out in September, this was like one of the first times like that I was genuinely excited about a new album from a band that I liked, because I was finding all of these bands, and they were already, they were not in the midst of album cycles. Some of them, My Chemical Romance, had not put out albums in at that point 9 years,
for like 10 years. Yeah.
So this was the first time where it was like a band I really enjoyed putting out an album, me getting to see them during the album cycle, like the whole thing that I do now with every single artist I like ever. I got to experience kind of for the first time with this band and this album, and this record blew me away the first time I heard it, because I was kind of familiar with Sleeping with Sirens, but hadn't gone like all the way back to the discography like I talked about during those reviews. I mean, that was potentially the first time I had heard the first album in full. I knew a majority of the songs, but the first time sitting down and listening to it. So this was like my first time hearing Sleeping with Sirens genuinely be a heavy band for an entire record. I know that they do that in their discography and did that earlier on in their career, but this was my first time in 2019 hearing this, and I was blown the hell away.
Absolutely.
And I continue to be blown away by this record. It's my favorite album that the band has done. I really think that modern Sleeping with Sirens is the best representation of the band. The really early stuff is a cult classic, it's a scene classic, and it's great for its time. There's a reason why the band got their initial success based off of that. The middle of the discography, which has the absolute behemoth Madness in it, which is a fantastic record, and we have 20 minutes worth of our opinions on that. We're not going to get into it right now. But they have a middle period in their discography where shit gets a little weird, a little stale, a little boring, uninspired. But, there's some...
To say the least.
Yes, there's some lights at the end of the tunnel in all those dark spots. And then we get into modern Sleeping with Sirens, which is everything post Gossip, which is what an album. And this was the return from Gossip, and...
This was we're so back.
And they are so fucking back. The way it opens with Leave It All Behind. And, it's just that I love that song. It's one of my favorite Sleeping with Sirens songs. I remember being a wee little kid who had also found Refused around the same time, and Refused put out an album a week after this. So let me tell you, 2019 me
big year for you.
In high school, bro, one earbud in all the time, listening to this record and War Music by Refused. That was what was on repeat for the first half of my, and then Korn had put out the Nothing. Oh, good God, what a great year 2019 was. September in particular, great month of 2019. But I found Refused around the same time I had found Sleeping with Sirens, and this album started rolling out, and I thought Leave It All Behind, the opening to that, sounds like the beginning of New Noise by Refused, which is their big song. The long, 6 years later, I'm not entirely sure I hear it anymore, but I was convinced.
Oh, you lost it.
I was convinced as a wee little lad that they were taking inspiration from this band, because I had heard how influential Refused was to the punk scene, and I was like, there it is, I hear it in this modern song.
Guys, I can hear it.
Not entirely sure I hear it anymore, but
You lost the thread.
It's been a few months since I've listened to New Noise, so maybe after this I'll go see if it's still there.
There you go.
And then it just keeps going from there. There's songs on this record that are just straight up fucking ass beaters, and then there's some bouncier songs on here as well, which I really appreciate, but it all kind of stays in that same we're heavy vibe. And the songwriting has again taken a step up. The lyric writing, because as we said, during that little blip in the discography where shit gets weird, the songwriting,
heavy blip. There was a lot there. There was a lot going on. Yeah.
The songwriting also gets really boring and uninspired for a couple of those albums. They have that record in the middle, Madness, where they remembered how to write songs, but they have two albums where they kind of forgot how to write songs entirely.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of slower tracks on this album as well. P.S. Missing You and Dying to Believe. I do appreciate how they have Medicine, Devil in My Head in between those two songs to kind of break up the
snooze fest.
The snooze fest that could ensue if they stacked those songs on top of each other. Dying to Believe is the slower of the two songs. It fits as a closer. Sleeping with Sirens also always nails their closers.
Yeah.
And this is no exception, because Kellen Quinn really excels in that very slow, moody, emotional, song, because he's just got the vocals for it. And Dying to Believe is a phenomenal example of that. P.S. Missing You is on the slower side, but doesn't completely fuck up the flow, because it comes in Another Nightmare, P.S. Missing You, and then Medicine, Devil in My Head. So it's kind of they do a nice job of sandwiching these slower songs, but those are the only slow songs on the record. The rest of these are straight up ass beaters, and I think this is exactly what the band needed coming off of Gossip, them showcasing like, no, we're still a heavy band. We can still do the damn thing. And here you go. Here's 9 songs that will absolutely kick your ass. And we stuck the 2 slow ones at the middle. And we still put a heavy song in between those 2 slow songs. So we're a heavy band and we can kick ass. And there's not a single pop song, pop anything. There's no pop elements on this.
There's no pop.
There's no pop on this at all.
No pop.
Just straight up ass beaters. I could sit here and basically name every single song on this record as a favorite. I genuinely think that this is a no skip album in their discography. But like I said, some of my like peak favorites are Leave It All Behind, How It Feels to Be Lost, and Break Me Down. Break Me Down being potentially the heaviest song on the record. There's a big ass breakdown on there, fitting for the fitting for the title. But the rest of that does not discredit the rest of these songs. I know we didn't talk about the deluxe edition, but the couple of new songs on the deluxe as well are phenomenal. This album in this era for the band was absolutely necessary and is potentially my favorite era of the band.
So I completely agree with you. You've been telling me since kind of we got to Madness, I think, where I was really getting upset that this band was turning out to be the way they are, because I was like, damn, where's Sleeping with Sirens? Because this is like not at all what I wanted from them. This is not at all, in my opinion, the music that deserves the amount of credit and admiration that they get. As I said, Kellen's vocals are crazy, but it was like the songwriting was lacking, and when they picked up the songwriting, the flow of albums was weird. The tone of the songs were weird. It was just a clusterfuck always. If they got one thing right, they got everything else wrong, basically, with their records. So coming to this record, you have been excited about it since we first started, because you're like, it's their best record. This is where they kind of got their shit together,
like Trust.
Which is crazy, because it's like more than 10 years after they got together, they're finally like doing it right. I don't know, better late than never, I guess, because this is the era that I would have gotten into them. I would have been so disappointed if I listened to the other shit, because I'd be like, where's the rest? Why doesn't it all sound like this? So listening to this record, this is what I thought Sleeping with Sirens sounded like. The heavy, the vocals, just the almost playfulness in the music. It's just like fun metal, basically. I love it. Where was this for the past like 12 years? I don't know, but I'm glad they're here. I think everything about this record is great. I completely agree. I think the track listing is better this time. I think they spaced out the slow songs in the proper way. They didn't stack them up on top of each other. It doesn't feel like we're kind of zigzagging from like one genre to another. I didn't get whiplash. It all felt very cohesive. It all felt just on the same page. If it wasn't super heavy, it still had traces of heaviness. It still had like some riff or some line or something that still connected it to everything else. So it still felt like it flowed very smoothly. And I really liked it. Yeah. So my personal favorite was the title track. I really like that track. And honestly, the A side is my favorite. Leave It All Behind, Never Enough, How It Feels to Be Lost, Agree to Disagree, Ghost. Those tracks I think are absolutely phenomenal. I'm happy they're all on the same page this time because I'm tired. And this is exactly what they needed. So far, this is like the only record that I really like from them, front to back. This is the only one.
Like I said, that basically from the get-go, I was saying that this was the record
Hmm.
that I was very excited to chat about, and I'm glad that you had the turnaround, because the last review, which if you're watching this, you should go watch that. You were not.
I was so upset.
You were
I was
like,
just like
you were
distraught.
like, I don't like this band at all, and I don't understand why people like this. And I'm like, nah, bro, trust.
They got
Trust.
one good album.
Trust. And you and I, we've listened to the newest one, which is what we're going to be chatting about next week. We're still doing a review of it because there's not a formal review on our channel. You could probably dig it up somewhere. It'll be good to revisit it, have a formal review on the channel of the album. So that'll be next week, and then that'll be it with Sleeping with Sirens. I'll be on to the next discography. So subscribe to us here on YouTube. It helps us out a ton. It's the only place we post these throwback reviews, and we have some one more Sleeping with Sirens review and a whole bunch all linked in the description if you're interested in our opinions on these records. You can follow us on Instagram as Good Noise Podcast, Facebook is Good Noise Pod, TikTok is Good Noise Podcast, YouTube is Good Noise Podcast. All the audio platforms are all Good Noise Podcast, and Patreon is patreon.com/Good Noise Podcast. Other than that, I have been Shane.
I have been Glory.
And we've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.